Birth father.
Birth father.
Birthing.
Birthing.
A birthing class.
Birthmark.
Birthmark.
Paul had a birthmark on his left cheek.
Birth mother.
Birth mother.
Birth parent.
Birth parent.
Birth partner. Birth partner.
Birthplace.
Birthplace.
Stratford-upon-Avon was Shakespeare's birthplace.
New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz. Birth plan. Birth plan.
Birth rate.
Birth rate.
The rising birth rate.
Birthright.
Birthright.
Freedom of speech is every American's birthright.
Biscuit.
Biscuit.
A packet of chocolate biscuits.
Cheese and biscuits.
I've heard some excuses, but this really takes the biscuit.
Bisect.
Bisect.
A long cobbled street bisects the town from east to west.
Bisexual.
Bisexual.
A bisexual plant.
Bishop.
Bishop.
The Bishop of Durham.
Bishopric.
Bishopric.
Bismuth.
Bismuth.
Bison.
Bison.
Bisque.
Bisque.
Lobster bisque.
Bistro.
Bistro.
A French bistro.
Bit.
Bit. Could you turn the TV up a bit? That's a bit odd. Are you sorry to be leaving? Yes, I am a bit. Aren't you being a little bit unfair? I think you're a bit too young to be watching this. She looks a bit like my sister. I feel a bit better now. I used to act a bit when I was younger. I may need a bit of help. He still likes to do a bit of gardening.
I want to spend a bit of time with him before he goes.
With a bit of luck, we should have finished by 5 o'clock. Everyone needs a little bit of encouragement. Would you like cream in your coffee? Yes, please, just a bit. Can we have a bit less noise, please?
She's quite a bit older than you, isn't she? He knows quite a bit about painting.
I expect you do quite a bit of travelling.
They're worth quite a bit more than I thought.
You'll have to wait a bit.
I walked on a bit.
I'll see you in a bit.
We sat around for a bit, chatting.
The news came as a bit of a shock. I felt a bit of a fool. It looks like they left in a bit of a hurry. You're not a bit like your brother. Am I cross? No, not a bit of it. I'm not in the least bit interested in whose fault it is.
Well, you haven't surprised me, not one bit.
Jodie plays every bit as well as the men. Bit by bit, I was starting to change my mind.
Memorise it a bit at a time.
The new system took a bit of getting used to. It's a bit much when he criticises us for doing something that he does himself.
She stayed in the hope that he'd tire of his bit on the side.
Bits of broken glass.
He wedged the door open with a bit of wood.
The aircraft was blown to bits.
He's taken the engine to bits. The old house was falling to bits.
This is the boring bit. We did the last bit of the journey on foot. Did you like the bit about the monkey? Mark's a darling. I love him to bits. I've always wanted a car, so I'm thrilled to bits.
A 32-bit processor.
A drill bit.
Let me get all my bits and pieces together.
Everyone should do their bit for the environment.
The critics pulled his new play to bits.
Then she gave us the concerned mother bit.
She was in bits after the race and looked totally gutted.
Bitch.
Bitch.
The silly bitch went and told the police.
Ooh, you're such a bitch.
I love that silk dress, but it's a bitch to wash.
He never bitches about other members of the team.
Stop bitching. He's always bitching at me.
Bitchin'.
Bitchin'.
That guy has one bitchin' truck.
Bitchy.
Bitchy.
A bitchy remark.
She can be really bitchy sometimes.
Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
Bite.
Bite.
The dog bit him and made his hand bleed.
She bit into a croissant and took a sip of coffee.
An adult conger eel can easily bite through a man's leg.
Nina pushed her fist into her mouth and bit down hard.
A man whose arm was bitten off by an alligator.
I wish I could stop biting my nails.
She paused uncertainly, biting her lip.
I think I've been bitten.
The dog's been badly bitten by fleas.
The hooves of the galloping horses had bitten deep into the soft earth.
He wore boots that bit into the ice.
The new tobacco taxes have begun to bite.
The recession is biting into the music industry.
The new camcorders were withdrawn after consumers failed to bite. The new camcorders were withdrawn after consumers failed to bite. The new camcorders were withdrawn after consumers failed to bite.
The fish just aren't biting today.
She should have bitten her tongue.
Italy's championship hopes eventually bit the dust. Italy's championship hopes eventually bit the dust.
I finally bit the bullet and left.
Well, go and ask him. He won't bite.
Tamar bit back the retort that sprang to her lips.
Determined to bite back at car thieves, he wired his car to an electric fence. Determined to bite back at car thieves, he wired his car to an electric fence. Determined to bite back at car thieves, he wired his car to an electric fence.
Antonio devoured half his burger in one bite.
She picked up the sandwich and took a bite.
Can I have a bite of your apple?
Some fish can give you a nasty bite.
Her body was covered in bite marks.
The infection is passed by the bite of a mosquito.
We had a bite to eat and a couple of drinks before the flight.
Goat's cheese adds extra bite to any pasta dish.
There was no mistaking the approach of winter. He could feel its bite. There was no mistaking the approach of winter. He could feel its bite.
The film gains incisive bite from Sellers' performance as the Union Chief. The film gains incisive bite from Sellers' performance as the Union Chief.
Sometimes I sit for hours and never get a bite.
Our dentist said that Emmy should wear a brace to improve her bite.
Bite-sized.
Bite-sized.
Sushi served in convenient bite-sized pieces.
Biting.
Biting.
A biting wind blew down from the hills.
A biting satire on corruption.
Bitmap.
Bitmap.
Bitmap fonts.
Bitmapped graphics.
Bit part.
Bit part.
He's had bit parts in a couple of soaps.
Bit player.
Bit player. Although he was NRC chairman, Hervey was strictly a bit player in government.
Bitten.
Bitten.
Bitter.
Bitter.
I feel very bitter about it.
A bitter old man.
If he failed, it would be a bitter disappointment to his parents.
His photos stirred up bitter memories.
She knew from bitter experience that it would be impossible to talk it over with Julian.
The couple are locked in a bitter battle for custody of the children. The couple are locked in a bitter battle for custody of the children.
The government faces bitter opposition to these policies. The government faces bitter opposition to these policies.
The countries are still bitter enemies.
Enjoy the beer's bitter taste as you slowly drink it.
Bitter chocolate.
A bitter wind.
The bitter cold of the Midwestern winters.
Employees have vowed to fight the closure to the bitter end. The knowledge that his friends no longer trusted him was a bitter pill to swallow.
A pint of bitter, please.
Bitterly.
Bitterly.
He complained bitterly about his exam grades.
I was bitterly disappointed.
The march was bitterly opposed by local residents.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet memories of childhood.
Bitty.
Bitty.
I thought the film was rather bitty.
Bitumen.
Bitumen.
Bivalve.
Bivalve.
Bivalve mollusks.
Bivouac.
Bivouac.
The climbers bivouacked halfway up the mountain.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
A bi-weekly magazine.
A bi-weekly television drama. Biz.
Biz.
The music biz.
Bizarre.
Bizarre.
A bizarre coincidence.
Dancers in rather bizarre costumes.
Blab.
Blab.
Don't go blabbing to your friends about this.
Blabber.
Blabber.
I wish she'd stop blabbering on about her boyfriends.
Blabbermouth.
Blabbermouth.
Black.
Black.
A black evening dress.
Jet black hair.
It was still pitch black out.
Over half the students are black.
Politics from a black perspective.
Black and Asian music.
Black coffee, no sugar please.
The blackest period of European history. A mood of black despair.
It's been another black day for the car industry with more job losses announced.
A very black joke.
Denise gave me a black look. Black deeds. You look good wearing black.
Laws that discriminated against blacks.
The union has blacked all non-urgent work.
For a few seconds, he thought he was going to black out.
The census had blacked out several words.
Black art.
Black art.
Blackball.
Blackball.
Black belt.
Black belt.
Sandy's a black belt in judo. Blackberry.
Blackberry. Blackberry. Blackbird.
Blackbird.
Blackboard.
Blackboard.
Black box.
Black box.
Black comedy.
Black comedy.
Black country. Black country.
Black currant.
Black currant.
Black death.
Black death.
Black economy. Blacken.
Blacken.
The thunder became louder and the sky blackened.
Black eye.
Black eye.
Jack looked like someone had given him a black eye.
Black-eyed bean.
Black-eyed bean.
Black gold.
Black gold.
Blackguard.
Blackguard.
Blackhead.
Blackhead.
Black hole.
Black hole.
I'm worried that the project could become a financial black hole.
The Black Hole of Calcutta.
Black hole of Calcutta.
Black humor.
Black humor.
Black ice.
Black ice.
Driving conditions are dangerous with black ice in many areas.
Blackjack.
Blackjack.
Blackleg.
Blackleg.
Blacklist.
Blacklist.
Many people in the industry were blacklisted for their communist sympathies.
Friends of the Earth have produced a blacklist of environmentally damaging products.
Black magic.
Black magic.
Blackmail.
Blackmail.
She had already tried emotional blackmail to stop him leaving. He was jailed for 4 years for blackmailing gay businessmen.
I refuse to be blackmailed into making a quick decision.
Black market.
Black market. There was a thriving black market in foreign currency.
Many foods were only available on the black market. Many foods were only available on the black market.
Black market cigarettes.
Black marketeer.
Black marketeer.
Black Muslim.
Black Muslim.
Blackout.
Blackout.
As the crisis worsened, the authorities imposed a news blackout. Black pepper.
Black pepper.
Black pudding.
Black pudding.
Black sheep.
Black sheep.
Amy's always been the black sheep of the family.
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith.
Black spot.
Black spot.
Arbroath is now the unemployment black spot of northeast Scotland. An accident black spot.
Blackthorn.
Blackthorn.
Black tie.
Black tie.
Blacktop.
Blacktop.
Blackwater rafting. Blackwater rafting.
Black widow.
Black widow.
Bladder.
Bladder.
Bladdered.
Bladdered.
Blade.
Blade.
The blade of the knife flashed in the moonlight.
A razor blade.
The blade of an oar.
Blader.
Blader.
Blade Runner.
Blade runner.
Blag. Blag.
Blag.
He blagged his way in by saying he was a friend of the owner. Blagger.
Blagger.
Blah.
Blah.
You know how Michelle talks. Tommy did this and Jesse did that. Blah, blah, blah. The usual blah about everyone working harder.
A case of the winter blahs.
The chili was kind of blah. I feel really blah today.
Blame.
Blame.
Don't blame me, it's not my fault.
I blame his mother. She does everything for him. Marie still blames herself for Patrick's death. The report blames poor safety standards for the accident. The decision to increase interest rates was widely blamed for the crisis. The decision to increase interest rates was widely blamed for the crisis.
One of the computers is broken and she's blaming it on me.
The crash was blamed on pilot error.
Officials believe that more than one person may be to blame for the fire.
Television is partly to blame.
She's left her husband. I don't blame her, after the way he treated her.
You can hardly blame him for not waiting.
Buy it then, but don't blame me when it breaks down.
If he fails his exams, he'll only have himself to blame.
Do you accept any blame for what happened? I always get the blame for his mistakes.
She stole the money, but she's trying to put the blame on me.
Blameless.
Blameless.
The police are not always entirely blameless in these matters.
She had led a blameless life.
Blameworthy.
Blameworthy.
Blameworthy conduct.
Blanch.
Blanch.
Blanch the peaches and remove the skins.
Patrick visibly blanched.
Blancmange.
Blancmange.
Bland.
Bland.
A few bland comments.
A bland diet.
Blandishments.
Blandishments.
How sensible she had been to resist his blandishments. How sensible she had been to resist his blandishments.
Blank.
Blank.
Leave the last page blank.
A blank cassette. Zoe looked at me with a blank expression.
She gazed at him in blank astonishment. My heart began to race, and my mind went blank.
Suddenly the screen went blank.
When you've filled in the blanks, hand the form back to me.
I'm trying to think of his name, but my mind's a complete blank.
Soldiers fired blanks into the crowd.
I just blanked in the oral exam.
Last time I saw Mike Adams, he completely blanked me. Last time I saw Mike Adams, he completely blanked me.
The actual names had been blanked out.
I tried to blank out everything he had said.
Blank check.
Blank check.
Blanket.
Blanket.
The hills were covered with a blanket of snow. The trial was held under a blanket of secrecy.
The rooftops were blanketed in snow.
The proposed blanket ban on tobacco advertising.
A blanket strategy.
Blankety blank.
Blankety blank.
The blankety blank key is stuck.
Blankly.
Blankly.
Anna stared blankly at the wall.
Blank verse.
Blank verse.
Blare.
Blare.
Horns blared in the street outside. Blarney.
Blarney.
The Blarney Stone.
Blarney Stone.
Blase.
Blasé.
He's very blasé about money now that he's got that job.
Blaspheme.
Blaspheme.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
The book has been widely condemned as blasphemous.
Blast.
Blast.
A blast of cold air swept through the hut.
36 people died in the blast. A bomb blast completely destroyed the building.
The station master gave a blast on his whistle, and we were off. A long trumpet blast.
I had the gas fire going full blast.
The radio was on at full blast.
The concert was a blast. We had a blast at the fair.
She was totally unprepared for the blast of criticism she received.
That's a blast from the past. No one has called me that for years.
She blasted her husband with a shotgun because he was having an affair.
The first shot missed and blasted a hole in the far wall.
The plane was blasted out of the sky by a terrorist bomb.
A 1.5-kilometre tunnel was blasted through the mountain.
The road will have to be blasted out of solid rock.
Railway workers had blasted through the mountains 90 years before.
He was woken by the radio alarm clock blasting out rock music.
Dance music blasted from the stereo.
Union leaders blasted the government for failing to tackle the jobs crisis.
With 6 minutes remaining, he blasted the ball through the Coleraine defences for his 19th goal of the season.
The wind ripped through the trees and blasted a curtain of rain up the meadow. The wind ripped through the trees and blasted a curtain of rain up the meadow.
Icy winds and driving snow blasted through the pine trees. Icy winds and driving snow blasted through the pine trees.
The Seahawks were blasted 35-14 by the Broncos.
Oh, blast, I've forgotten my key.
Blasted.
Blasted.
I wish that blasted baby would stop crying.
Blast furnace.
Blast furnace.
Blast off.
Blast off.
10 seconds to blast off.
Blatant.
Blatant.
Blatant discrimination.
Blather.
Blather.
Blaxploitation.
Blaxploitation.
Blaze.
Blaze.
It took almost 100 firemen to bring the blaze under control.
Helicopters were used to help fight the blaze. A huge chemical factory blaze.
I lit the fire and soon had a cheerful blaze going. The blaze of light from the security lamps.
The garden is a blaze of colour at this time of year.
As soon as the trial was over, the blaze of publicity surrounding him vanished.
She played the Canada tournament, then retired, going out in a blaze of glory.
A blaze of anger flashed across his face.
What the blazes is going on here?
We had to run like blazes.
The room was warm, with a fire blazing in the hearth.
A huge truck was advancing towards us, its headlights blazing.
The sun blazed down as we walked along the valley.
Linda leapt to her feet, her dark eyes blazing with anger. An enemy plane roared overhead, its guns blazing.
An innovative young company that has blazed a trail for others to follow. An innovative young company that has blazed a trail for others to follow.
News of their divorce was blazed across all the tabloids.
Blazer.
Blazer.
Blazing.
Blazing.
A blazing August afternoon. He jumped to his feet in a blazing fury.
Blazon.
Blazon.